Today, even more details emerge about that massive Juan Soto deal. What it took to bring him to Queens. We're going to break that down on this massive edition of Mets Digest. What's going on, everybody? Flobo Boyce with you. And yeah, stop me if you heard this one. Mets land massive free agent? I thought these sort of things only happen once a year. But Juan Soto is making his way to Queens. Shout out to Mike D'Angelo, my partner in crime here in the channel, for breaking the news just a couple hours ago. In fact, if you haven't done so already, though, do me a favor, make sure you like this video and subscribe so you know when new content drops, because I was enjoying my Sunday with family, and of course the biggest thing ever happened when I wasn't on the job. But let's talk about it, man. I'm not the biggest fan of Juan Soto, gotta give you that up front, and so because so many Yankee fans are upset he left the Bronx, I will be. What does it mean for someone being a talent that is considered generational, a one of one, coming to New York, the real team in New York, what that means for the squad, what it means for our chances, what it means for 2025. The ripples are rippling, as the kids say. Listen, let's take us all back to 2020 when Steve Cohen himself said, look, I'll be considered to be mildly disappointed if the Mets don't win a world championship in 3 to 5 years. 2025 is year 5, and truthfully, this might be the biggest year of all time. The deal was so massive it made The Economist, which is a paper, a publication like your dad and granddad reads, about how massive this deal is. $765 million over 15 years, and it was far and away the best offer. In fact, the Yankees offered 16 years and $760 million, and the Boston Red Sox, number 3, not the Phillies, not the Blue Jays, offered the third best for $700 million for that 15 years. And I'm sure that you can pretty much read the details of the contract online, but the thing that brings me the most pleasure, or the most question marks, because I love asking questions, is the opt-out deal. After year 5, Juan Soto can opt out of his deal. The Mets can override that opt-out and say, oh, heck no, you're going to come back to work, dog. But that's going to cost them an extra $4 million a year. So what does that mean? Meaning after year 5, if Juan doesn't like it, if New York isn't really working out for him, he can say, you know what, guys, I'm going to try someplace else. If Steve Cohen and the front office goes, oh, no, you're not, the actual maximum potential contract value for Juan Soto will be $805 million. That's like monopoly numbers. And it's just something that keeps on giving. Now, I said before in the beginning of this video, I'm not the biggest fan of Juan Soto. I'm not a fan of the Soto Shuffle myself, but I'll be really dumb if I don't tell you how much this benefits the team. The Athletic, give it up to Andy McCullough, Ken Rosenthal, and others, really go into detail about how important someone like Juan would be for the squad, a squad looking for their next step after obtaining their team chemistry and identity in 2024. Because after being traded twice already in his career, Juan Soto, can now polish his Hall of Fame resume over the next decade in Flushing. In his 7 seasons in the majors, Soto has drawn comparisons to Ted Williams and Barry Bonds, let's be real, with all the walks he gets, while accumulating an impressive array of hardware, 4-time All-Star and a 5-time Silver Slugger. At 20, he helped the Washington Nationals win the World Series. A year later, he won the batting title. In his lone season as a member of the Yankees, Soto hit 41 homers with 109 RBI and a 99 OPS. He swatted the home run that delivered the Yankees to the franchise's first World Series since 2019. And that is why that is important. Let's talk about the journey around, right? We all know that when he was a Washington National, was given a massive contract that was worth about $400+ million, turned that down. Went to the Padres in a package as well, and the Padres had a chance to keep him, but chose not to because the San Diego Padres are dealing with their own payroll issues. So he goes to the New York Yankees on a 1-year rental. And I really believe that the Yankees would be a possibility for him to return. But something really changed after that World Series. I mean, that World Series wasn't the Yankees' best time to shine. I mean, I know, shame. But that conference, that press conference after the proceedings made me believe, wow, maybe he is open to all 30 teams, or like 20, because like really, who's gonna go from like the Yankees to the Rockies? No offense to Colorado, but the fact the Mets were even in the mix for as long as they were is something that really wasn't a possibility 10 years ago. Steve Cohen and company did a really good job of actually landing a free agent. Remember, they lost out on both the Shohei Ohtani and the Yoshinobu Yamamoto sweepstakes last season, and so being able to land a big one when needed does a lot to instill some of the confidence for the squad. In fact, there is yet another article from The Athletic I want to share with you. By the way, if you haven't really checked out The Athletic, you really should. They're actually a fantastic publication talking about Steve Cohen's approach of getting someone like Juan Soto. Let's be real. The Yankees have a lot. They have Melamint Park. They have the history. They're the most successful franchise in all North American sports. You heard it being told time and time again. But you need to have someone to sell a vision for you to buy into. And it really goes in detail. I won't read the whole thing here for the interest of time, but I do think up top when it says in past meetings, according to people briefed on discussions, Cohen told free agents that he views his ownership as a civic duty. Take that, Will Pons. He's in it to win it for the long haul. He says he's looking to do what it takes to build a perennial winner. And as a host, Cohen pays attention to details. For example, during his meeting last year with Yoshinobu Yamamoto, he cared about having the color red, a symbol of good luck in Japan. Moving on, it does feel like there was a bit of a kinship between Soto and Steve Cohen. So it turns out, quote, the last line on the screen right there, a 68-year-old billionaire and a 26-year-old baseball star icon can bond over ambition. And that is the name of the game. When someone says, how do you get someone who's in their prime? How do you get someone who's that young? How do you get someone that has so many different positives to give to a team? Let's talk about negatives in a second. That has so many different positives to give to a team. And that is you appeal in the vision. We're giving you a big contract, but we're here because we believe that we have something long term. We have something that can work over a long period of time, and that's how they got it done. Now, Juan Soto is not infallible. In fact, there are some people now that are going to balk at that eye-watering amount. I mean, that's way past the point. 765 million. That is north of $750 million for one dude that can roll an ankle or can have a decline or maybe have those defensive miscues that plagued him in 2024 become magnified once he has a contract in hand. In fact, I bet there's always going to be someone's dad who being like, well, this guy, he's not worth it. We should sign so many other people. But here's where it gets crazy if you're a Mets fan, because even with the Juan Soto purchase, we are still $100 million shy of that next tax threshold and about $110 million shy of where we were in 2022, which means there's a lot of space to add more people. And what that list is going to be, we don't really know for sure. I know pitching is going to be up top priority. We've had reports over the past couple of days linking the team to guys like Walker Buehler and Jack Flaherty et al. And of course, the Pete Alonso situation. With Juan Soto being signed, people have been asking, do you think Pete is a definite walk? The answer is not necessarily. It is too early to tell. Because we need all the help we can get, and when it comes down to free agent first baseman, it won't be a free agent signing at first base because there's not many options. I mean, Christian Walker could be an option, but he's 5 years older than Pete Alonso. But I will say Alonso lost a little bit of leverage. In 2020, he was pretty much the primary scoring option, even in 2021. Well, I'll say 2020 because that's when Cespedes really kind of just petered out and opted out the rest of the season, the COVID year. But now with the rise of Vientos, and there's expecting a projection of a bounce back for Alvarez, what does that look like of being the third or even the fourth option going in? And now you sign someone who can give you 30 plus home runs. I mean, Juan Soto hit 40 last year, but as a lefty, you have to think about the short porch over at Yankee Stadium, and that can mean something else. If you are Pete Alonso, you can't pound your chest and say, you need me, when clearly the team doesn't. Now you can argue about if Pete does walk, what does that mean for the third base situation? Do you bring up Brett Beatty? Do you have Ron Mauricio there? Or do you re-sign Iglesias? But that's another issue for another time. But I do think that does have a ripple effect, not only for the New York Mets, but for the rest of the free agent market. We've seen this graphic plenty of times, but one more time for old time's sake. The numbers don't lie. Here is somebody that definitely has put the team, this time is the Yankees, on his back last season when the majority of the offensive options disappeared in the postseason. You could count on someone like Juan Soto to make it happen. So here is somebody with the postseason experience. Here's someone with a batting title. Here's someone with a chip. Here's someone who doesn't really wilt in the eyes of the New York Lights, the brightness of the New York Lights. And now he's on a team that is on a dedicated mission to win with an owner that sees ambition in him. That's how you make someone run through a wall for you. And that's something that can all go to positives. And I always feel like people always tell me, well, Flobo, these things are all positives. Why aren't you a fan? Well, I say this. Everyone can have one person in all of baseball that rubs them the wrong way. And I'm saying this, I'm putting this on record now that until today, Juan Soto was that guy for me. He was a guy that rubbed me the wrong way. But as a Met, I'm willing to have an open mind of someone's going to be there for 15 years. And that is great. A chance for me to come around and say, guys, I was too harsh on the guy. But that said, the holes are still there. Rotation still needs help. It's still pretty open as it is right now. Even if you do try to train Clay Holmes to be a starter, you still need a number 1. You still need a number 5 in that rotation. Is it going to be a Corbin Burns? We don't know. Are we re-signing Sean Manaea? I hope we do. But I will say, when it comes to the offense, when it comes to what it looks like for the squad right now, we do have some improvements. Let's take a look at the outfield before we get out of here. As it is, it was locked in and under contract for next year in the outfield. It's going to be Brendan Nimmo, Jose Siri, Tyrone Taylor, and now Juan Soto. They are going to be locked in for the next year. Jesse Winker and DJ Stewart are technically free agents, so they have not resigned. But Jesse Winker is some word or name I'm not hearing at all over the past week or so about where he's going to be on the team. And you have the two big question marks now when it comes to the outfield. One, do you even bother putting Jeff McNeil out there when you have the kind of star power in the outfield now? Do you keep him on the infield if you decide to keep Jeff McNeil at all? And Starling Marte, who is, as of this recording, the oldest player on the Mets roster. Here's someone who's approaching his age 37 season, if memory serves. And here's someone that had his own injury history, who was the incumbent right fielder. Probably won't have that job every day just because of his physical attributes. But what do you do with Marte in his last year of his contract? You shift him to being the everyday DH. You platoon the DH with Mark Vientos. You ship him off in some kind of trade package. We're seeing teams are willing to spend. We've seen teams like the Rockies being a little bit more active. We've seen the Athletics put the money out the bag out for Severino. Do you try to shift Marte? Now you have this giant whale of a contract, and I swear to you, if anyone says Juan Soto is going to be a DH day one, you are out of your mind. So just to review, this deal right now comes with a no full trade clause. You can't trade him. There is no deferred money. You got to pay the man every single year. Take that, Los Angeles. And it comes with a $75 million signing bonus. And that is before, and that is independent of that year 5 opt-out when Soto could be like, you know what, I'm not really feeling this. I'm going to Toronto or whatever. And the Mets decide to say, no, you're not. We're going to make sure you're here. That comes at a $4 million per year penalty. Not only did the guy get the bag, he set up a lot of fail-safes to make sure and to ensure he gets the bag, which is going to push the market up in one direction. Some worry about inflation. But also, I say, well, what about those people who probably would not even been considered? Like, what about Santander? Here's somebody, if Juan Soto would have drawn that out, probably would have rushed to take a deal. But now, he is the best option in the outfield who's not signed as of this recording. I bet his voicemail box is full. Huge, huge day. If we become, when we become world champions in 2025, this might be the chapter of the documentary where everything starts to come into focus. In 2022, the idea was throw money at things. Didn't work. 23, it didn't work at all also. 24 is a rebuilding year where we learned our culture. Shout out to Grimace or Hawk Tour or Glizzy Iggy or the Rally Pimp or whatever. But now we actually have real stars who are willing to either entertain offers from us and then go with offers from us. This might be the golden age. It all takes a little shuffle, left and right. Forget what I said 10 minutes ago. Maybe I am a fan all this time. Maybe I'm just learning to like the guy. Maybe I think this guy's going to lead us to the promised land. All right, I'm done. I can't do the whole crazy, mad, fantastic, excited guy on YouTube thing. But anyway, let me know in the comments below about what you have in the outfield. Did we pay too much for Juan Soto? What are our prospects for winning the 2025 World Series? I would love to hear from you because I was absolutely dumbfounded. My birthday was in June. I got 3 text messages. Juan Soto signs. I got 45. Like it's that big of a deal. I'm out. I'm going to study more because this is the first day of winter meetings as I record this. So even more Met stuff is going to happen over the next day or two. So keep yourself locked as you go through this in detail. Myself and Mike D'Angelo appreciate you. 3,000 subscribers and climbing. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Until next time, as always, it's LGM to the bitter end.